There's not too many people like in my age range, I just turned 50, right? Who don't want to know how to lose belly fat. Now let's dispense with the craziness once and for all.
Okay.
Can you go and lose belly fat by taking a supplement or a pill?
Next on the Health Mastery Cafe.
Hey, it's Dr. Contessa, and you are watching the Health Mastery Cafe with Dr. Dave.
Hey, cafe connoisseurs, listen. Everybody watching this is going to be able to relate to today's show. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how much money you make. We all have this desire to improve our physique, and sometimes we just want to feel and function better. One size doesn't fit all, but I think that everybody's going to be able to get something out of this, something that you can use, and that is because my guest today is somebody who knows exactly how to get the ideal body, how to achieve the body that she wants, the dream body, and take it from one state to another. She knows all of that stuff. I'm here with wellness coach Kara Lane, but not just any wellness coach. She is a former first place overall in the Arnold Amateur Classic Figure Competition. Now, I want y'all to understand something. That is, look at this picture. This picture right here, y'all, listen, if you're not impressed, then we got to check your pulse and we can give you some medicine. With that being said, she's now dedicated her life to teaching you how to get your body the way you want it, not necessarily like her. Coach Kara.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction. I didn't know you were going to say that, but thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, we're giving credit where it's due.
I appreciate it.
And obviously, you can't tell certain things by looking at the cover, but you can tell some. And that is that you have invested yourself into having the form and function.
Yes.
Function is key of the body that you desire. And I really appreciate you being here with us today and spending your time. I want to cut through some stuff. Before we get going, we always ask our guests what's in their cup. See, I'm a coffee guy. I'm now starting to drink a little bit more jasmine green tea. I hear there's a lot of great properties. What's in your cup? What's your brew of choice?
Water.
Water.
H2O.
All the time.
H2O.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I'm a coffee person in the morning. Like I want my cup of coffee, whether it's before I work out or when I'm done, just kind of depends. But I definitely try to have it like before noon, but definitely a coffee lover.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I have tried to stop and my body is revolted. So I'm going to keep going. Before we dive in, we got a lot of stuff to cover.
Excited.
Before we dive in, I really want to hit this belly fat idea. We've got this misconception in our brain, I think just as a society, that we can go to the gym and do 1,000,000 sit-ups and lose our belly fat. There's not too many people like in my age range, I just turned 50, right? Who don't want to know how to lose belly fat. Now let's dispense with the craziness once and for all.
Okay.
Can you go and lose belly fat by taking a supplement or a pill?
No.
There's no chance.
There's no chance.
So whatever we're spending these billions of dollars on, keep your money, because it's not going to happen from a capsule that you get from GNC.
Unless you're willing to pay for that capsule for the rest of your life, if you don't change your habits, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
Can't spot train. You can't like pick a part of your body. It's like all or nothing.
Why do we do that then? Why do we go? We want to, look, I want a six pack. I don't know if that's going to be achievable. Well, I want a six pack. Why do we then go to the gym and do 1,000 sit-ups?
Well, hopefully we're doing it for our total well-being first and foremost, right?
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're taking care of our mind and our body. As we're aging, we all need different things.
Yeah.
So you go for cardiovascular health, you go to build strength.
Yeah.
You go for community and connection, like all of those things affect our overall well-being.
The community and connection piece is a big one. We haven't really honed in on that, but of the pillars of people who live for a really long time, they're talking about that meaning, that connection, that is really important. When you don't have, community,
Yes.
you don't really do as well long term. There's still this myth that, I can just go and do these sit-ups. We learned that from somewhere. You're saying unlearn it. What are some of the keys to holistically approaching belly fat? If we want to get rid of the fat on top of the abdomen, how do we get rid of that?
I would say first starting with your nutrition. Obviously, moving our bodies is really important, but we can't pick where our fat's going to go.
Yeah.
Right? As a man and as a woman, you know, women, we have the ability to have children. We have different hormones than you all have. We have some of the same hormones too, but we can't pick a place where it's going to go, but we can control what we're doing to our bodies, what we're putting in our bodies to help us displace that fat, to kind of spread it around.
Tell me, because there's some foods that we should not eat, especially when we're trying to get rid of fat.
Okay.
Any come to mind, like, don't eat that because it's going to mess you up?
So
pull out my list.
I might say this and you'll be like, what do you mean? I don't believe in restriction. I'm going to eat everything.
Okay.
However, I'm going to eat everything in moderation, and I'm going to choose the healthier options. And then as you're creating this healthy lifestyle for yourself that's sustainable, when you're putting better things into your body, you're not going to crave those things. But does Coach Kara have an occasional donut? I do.
No, you do not. Nobody believes that. Not the Coach Karen I'm looking at. Nobody believes that she has an occasional donut.
No.
And when you say occasional, you mean twice a year.
That is not correct.
That's not correct.
No.
So what you're saying is you don't have to not eat a carbohydrate in order to have the form and the body that you want.
You do not.
That's a misconception.
I think it's a misconception. I think it is all about moderation.
Yeah.
It's all about what your goals are. So if you have more weight to lose than me, am I going to be a little bit more aware and mindful of what I'm eating at that time until I reach that goal?
Right.
Whereas like, just honestly for me, like I can probably eat a donut or two more, but I've already reached my goals.
Yeah.
You know, I spent many years training, competing. So now I'm kind of just like at that maintenance phase, but also my maintenance phase looks very different from when I first started in the fitness industry.
That's right. So what you nutritionally need, what you are doing in the gym changes as you change. The target moves, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Pivot.
Yeah.
Adjust.
You can't do the same things you did, as I'm learning, right? At 25, I mean, you want me to lose some body fat at 25? Boom. A weekend, I'm good.
It's easy.
Right? Back. Right? But it's not that easy anymore. I do want to push you a little bit on this idea of I don't believe in restriction. So there are some I'm gonna highlight just because that's just kind of how Dr. Dave is. It's kind of annoying. There are some things we definitely don't want to eat. Cyanide.
Yeah.
No, I'm being silly. But there are some things that are just simply not good for the individual. And one size doesn't fit all. I say that all the time.
Absolutely.
So what's not good for me may not be good for you.
Absolutely.
Case in point, I really love kale. And if you put a bowl of braised kale, it could be a massive, like serve everybody family style bowl.
Yeah.
I will eat the entire bowl.
Because you love it.
I love it so much. And my GI tract is like, why'd you do that?
Ooh.
I'm going to show you. So there are some things that you should restrict. So I'm being a little bit, we're going to cut that out, but I'm being a little bit tongue in cheek. There are some things that are just not for you. And just because it's healthy doesn't mean it's for you. For me, that's kale. If I eat too much kale, I'm going to pay for it. So that's not what you're saying. You're not saying eat anything you want. You're just saying you don't restrict yourself from ice cream or donuts.
The occasional ice cream, the occasional donut. If you're having a family gathering, celebrating your birthday, you have a piece of cake, things like that. I make mindful choices, as in if I go somewhere with my girlfriend, or like I'm going to have lunch today with my mom, right? So if I wanted something sweet, I'm like, hey, you want to split some cheesecake?
Sure.
You know, instead of having the whole cheesecake. It's just about finding that balance of what works for you. And then going back to when you're referring to restriction, you may have medical conditions, like if you have diabetes, you know, insulin resistant, like there are certain things you're not going to have all the time, or maybe you just, I always give my clients I said, let's keep a journal. Let's do green light, yellow light, and red light foods. So when you're eating things and you're starting to kind of peel back the layers, what's making you feel really good and what's making you feel kind of icky?
But tuning into it, meaning let me eat this and pay attention to when my body doesn't feel good so that I don't keep doing it. It took me a minute to do that with kale. But we should be doing that with everything and saying, if I'm going to treat my body like the temple that it is, let me not do that. Let me not do that. And sometimes we make that choice anyway. Sometimes we know if I eat this bread and I'm gluten sensitive that I'm going to have some trouble, but sometimes we do it anyway. And that's human nature, right? Are there people who should though? I mean, should everybody just, do things in moderation?
That's the key point, moderation. And then, yes, some people are going to be restricted, whether it's a medical condition, whether it's genetic, whether it's something chronic. So you have fibromyalgia, right? You're going to eat more not anti-inflammatory foods. If you have diabetes, you're going to watch your sugar and
the added sugars,
added sugars and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So that's when you're like working with your physician, and maybe more specifically, if you have one of those conditions, a medical doctor or a dietitian, kind of guiding you through that process. But we have it in our own hands, like what we're putting in our bodies. Like, I do believe we can heal our bodies with food.
Yeah.
It's about moderation. You know, sometimes maybe initially kind of counting your calories, making sure you're taking enough. What I found with my clients is most of the time they're not eating enough.
Oh.
And maybe
metabolism
lacking in protein as well. So then, as you know, your body's holding on to fat. It's also an energy source. So you're going to hold on to fat. And we all hold on to it different places. Like, you don't want the belly fat. I don't want the belly fat.
Right. I didn't used to have to think about this.
You don't have to think about it. So as you get
now
older,
I do.
those things change.
That's right.
You do have to think about it. So we can't necessarily dictate where our fat goes, but we can help to monitor what we're putting in our bodies to limit the amount of fat that we add on to our bodies that's unhealthy for us.
At the end of the day, people do want to know, is there a way for us to do a type of exercise that helps the midsection? What is that?
Well, you can't outrun a bad diet. I'll just say that.
So the diet piece is absolutely crystal clear. So you could go and have a great workout, but then if you go eat, Twinkies and cupcakes, and fast food, you might be in trouble.
You might be in trouble. It's going to add up.
It's going to add up. And then you're wondering, why can't I get to my goal? So the food part is really important.
Yes. When
you were working on your abs and let's say when you were competing, because competition abs from that photo that we just saw, I mean, it's almost like a cartoon. It was like anime,
laser.
There must have been some exercises that you were doing to get there. And not that everybody has to do it that way, but we certainly want to approximate that. Can I get close to that? What did you do to do that?
So a lot of cardiovascular activity, a lot of strength training. Like, that's my go-to is strength training. So building lean muscle mass, which is going to help you to decrease your body fat. It's going to help you to change your body composition.
Yeah. So
you can't go wrong with getting in the gym and incorporating those strength training exercises. And sometimes there will be like abs at the end of the workout, but a lot of exercises we do, like if you're doing them standing, if you're doing planks, I always say I'm like old school. Like, I don't need all the fancy ab equipment. Like, I'm gonna jump down and do a plank, a side plank, a front plank. I'm gonna work on stability and balance because it's gonna recruit more of those intrinsic muscle fibers and to help build that lean muscle.
So you can do that with planks, and there are different planks.
There are many.
The side plank is when your body is kind of
laterally.
Okay. The regular plank, whether on the floor, on a Bosu ball, on something, and you don't do all of this fancy contraptions.
Not necessarily.
And it's not necessary to get the body that you want. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm also saying that it's really consistency is key. So moving your bodies, incorporating different modalities. We've kind of talked about, like, as you age, like the different things that your body needs. So what I did when I competed, like 5-6 days of strength training, 2 a days, like cardio and strength training later in the day, or vice versa.
2 a day.
Camp on the weekends. Posing for stage, like that takes strength and energy.
We got some people on set that do 2 a day or sometimes. We're like, what is going on here?
I love it.
I think I'm beyond the 2 a day, but that's fine. I mean, everybody, listen, one size doesn't fit all. That's what we're trying to tell everybody.
That's exactly.
So I want to do this. You're talking about the exercises. We have this rapid fire that we're going to try out. So our producers kind of put this together for us, and they're calling it a quick sip. Instead of rapid fire, just kind of keeping with the cafe.
Little taste.
Yeah, so quick sip. I wanted to talk about these exercises. I want you to tell me yes or no, and a little bit about why you like it or why you don't like it. All right, so ready for the quick sip?
Let's do it.
Okay, let me just. Little tequila. No. Okay, so the first one is HIIT, high intensity interval training.
Yes.
You are a yes on that.
Yes.
Tell me why.
So I like the fact that it's quick and it's efficient. So if you're short on time, you can hit the total body, but you're going to build a lot of endurance in a HIIT class or HIIT activity.
Yeah.
So that's why I will say definitely a game changer to kind of mix things up.
It is a game changer. Y'all heard this. The next one is Pilates.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Core strength, posture, and stability.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say this part. We gotta get the guys, because I don't see many guys in the Pilates.
I've been in a studio here in Atlanta,
And you got some guys in the Pilates?
Guys in the Pilates.
All right, so because we got to get in
Don't
it.
be scared.
Man, that torture thing. What is that thing called?
The Pilates
Torture chamber.
It's a beautiful
Hashtag. Don't do it. No. But no, I know it's really good. But it also brings us to this next one, which is bar.
Bar. Yes, muscular endurance, toning from head to toe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, you don't see a whole lot of, but like, we're just being real. I mean, I'm not saying, and I'm not trying to be, I don't want to sound whatever that word is, but I'm just saying we just don't see it. If you don't see it, it's
No,
just
you're right.
okay. Yeah.
Typically, you're going to see more women in those classes, but I have been to some studios again in Atlanta, and there have been some guys. Not a lot, but it's good to like mix it up. So if you
It is good to
get
mix it
somebody
up.
to go, a male to go, ladies,
Right. A
Bring them
date.
in.
Right. Boom, he'll never go again. You may never see him again. But no, I'm kidding. But no, I can say this because I'm a male, right? I think I can say this, right? Like, we also like that kind of pain. You know, like, oh, that's terrible. So that does bring us to yoga. Mm-hmm. What about yoga?
mindfulness, the breath, and focus.
Yeah. So do it.
Do it.
Yeah. I keep saying I'm gonna start practicing yoga, and I haven't done it yet. I do owe it to myself to start. I do meditate. I have my stillness and I breathe.
Good.
Exacting that physiology that God gave us. Really, it's wonderful. If you are not doing it, you should do it. But I haven't done the poses yet. So, and then obviously strength training, right? So you can't stand strength training. Right? It's very obvious you cannot stand it. So I'm just going to mark that off the list. Right.
I 100% go to. I still do it, and all the other exercises formats that we talked about, I do all of those too.
Yeah.
I will say, going back to HIIT, that's not something that I would do every day. Consecutive days, because it's really one of those workouts where you're like all out, like pushing your body to its max. So you want to make sure that you have enough time to recover. So like, I may do strength training like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I may do HIIT on Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday. I'm doing yoga, and then maybe doing a little bit of time on my Peloton. So those are some different things and different ways I mix it up. And for me, now, happily to say I'm 47.
Come on, 40. You ain't no 47. This is truth in journalism in here, man. We can't be lying to the folks.
You can fact check.
What?
So yeah, so now
What
instead
am I
of
doing?
like,
I got to get my act together.
I mean, look at you.
What is it? Oh, thank you.
I
Yeah. You look 49.
mean, we doing that thing.
Thank you. Thanks, coach.
No, you just have to mix it up. You've got to adjust to where you're at in your life. You've got to focus on like what your goals are and be more specific to that. So it could be you're needing more balance, you're needing more stability. Maybe you spend a lot of time at your desk and you need to focus more on things that involve posture. So then maybe you do Pilates and incorporate that a little bit more.
Yeah.
I was not a big yogi. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, like I need something.
So like with that photo, you weren't doing yoga back when you're no,
not at all. I was like, what is that? It's foreign to me. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But then again, you've got to keep an open mind. Now I do it twice a week. So I'm increasing my flexibility, getting older, professional changes. I have 2 children.
Yeah.
You're like, I need to like some quiet time, like that stillness you're looking for. I find that in my yoga practice. And I only do like maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes max, like 2 days a week. But the consistency is going to show the results.
I think you hit something that's really important. I'm just going to underscore it, which is at different phases of your life, it's okay to have different requirements, to do different workouts. And in fact, if you don't, your body will
It'll let you know. It will let you know.
Form is really important. There are oftentimes, I work out with a trainer 3 days a week, and then I work out on my own one other day. And when I'm working out on my own, I usually go to like LA Fitness or, one of. And when I'm in LA Fitness, because I've been taught by my trainer the proper form. So I'm a physiologist, right? I was a physiologist before I became a cardiologist. I always say that. So I kind of know body function, which is why I always say, everybody's got a body and I know bodies. That's how we start off the show. And I thought I knew what I was doing. You don't know what you're doing? You do not know what you're doing. It's like our golfers, like you think you're good until you go to like Golf Tech and you see your golf swing on the video and you're like, man, yeah, I'm Charles Barkley. That's the Charles Barkley reference for my folks, my golfers. Okay. With that being said, I do think that form is really important. Not everybody can go to a trainer can't have a coach, what do you do to get the right form? Because I see a lot of future back injuries.
Yeah.
I see a lot of knees going down when folks are going, what they call ass to the grass, right? But I just think if you do that over and over again, that you are going to damage a joint who's made to last for 100 years. We have 100 years of function in our joints.
Yeah.
And you misuse that, disuse that, and it goes away.
Yeah.
So form is really important. Where do we get that from when we're not in with a coach?
So if you're not with a coach or you don't have a trainer, I would love to say go to like social media, but that can be kind of scary, overwhelming, and very intimidating as well.
Yeah.
But looking for, say like ACSM or NASM, Ace Fitness, they have like their websites. And
ACSM. We're going to put these at the bottom of the video for you guys. ACSM.
NASM or NASM.
Yeah.
ISSA, Ace Fitness. So those organizations actually provide certifications for trainers, whether it's trainers becoming a personal trainer, whether they're getting into coaching, whether it's nutrition. They offer all these different options for them to gain their education. So they have libraries of exercises and then videos.
Yeah.
And so those are where you find the ones where the proper form is probably going to be demonstrated at its best.
Yeah.
So I would recommend going to those places, or maybe you get a group together and you do a group training versus a one-on-one training, which is going to save you some money.
Right.
So different
And
things like
accountability's in there.
and
Because
accountability.
your girl is there and you
That's right.
low key have a little competition going. And so, no, I like that. That all works.
But definitely I would say go to those websites initially. And then once you kind of learn that, and then hopefully if you're going into a gym, if they have trainers who are truly about helping people change their lives, they're going to assist you whether you're paying them or not. And I mean that by saying, like I have a virtual client I coach and she goes to a gym here, but I coach her virtually.
Yeah.
And she did a move and she said, oh, this guy was so nice. He came up to me and asked if I had any questions about a particular move. And I said, oh, what did he tell her? And what did he tell you? And she shared it with me. And then we went over a video and we talked through it. And I was like, that's awesome. Because
that's right.
sometimes people
He was
like,
right.
they may not want to come up to you because they may think, oh, she may or he may know everything, or just feel like that's not like cool to do that.
Right.
But it's really important that we take time to educate people. And that's what I'm all about. Like at the end of the day, it's about education. If I'm coaching you, training you, I would love for you to stay with me for the rest of my life.
Of course.
But it's like 6 months, a year. You should be able to walk away and feel confident.
And learn from you and be able to replicate
what we've been sharing in our
he probably slid her the phone number too, like, and call me tonight, kind of.
No, he actually asked her. He said, I was going to come up to you last week, but you were with a guy, and I think it was your husband.
And I couldn't ask you out. Yeah, right.
And so he came and he asked her. I thought, well, there are some nice guys out there.
Right. And then he hit her on the DM, like, hey, I'm being sad. I mean, No, but that's really good. That happened to me. So I was in LA Fitness. This is before my trainer, and I love the rower.
Oh, me too.
I think it's one of the single best ways to get cardio and strength all at the same time. And remember I said I'm a physiologist, so I thought I was doing it right. And I actually fancied myself as somebody who does exercises right. So you can imagine my chagrin when I learned that I was doing them all wrong. But I was rowing, and an older black gentleman came up to me, 60 roughly, right? And says, hey, just gave me a couple of little pointers, actually stopped me. And my first response was, no, but I think I know what I'm doing. And he was like, oh, no, that's okay. I just professional crew, like with the real oars in the water. Bang.
Yeah.
I was like, I will be listening to him. And so I started doing what he asked me to do. What you see on the rower is people doing biceps exercises and not using a core, and they're messing up their back. So if you're not starting with legs first, arms straight, you're in trouble. I'm just trying to tell you right now. So if maybe we can put a link or something for the proper row, but that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
The row is not necessarily a biceps exercise.
It's totally.
You end up doing a little bit, but it shouldn't be. And people are doing like this on a rower and hardly getting the legs in.
Or the core.
Back is slouched. Your back is going to start hurting in 15 years, and you're not going to know why. That's why we're talking about this. Form is so critical. As you're putting together whatever workout, with whomever you're putting it together, less focus on form. I'd rather you do it properly,
Exactly.
fewer times, than to do it a whole bunch the wrong way. So it's really important.
Yeah.
There is this myth too when we talk about strength training, that particularly with women, right? So I get a lot of DMs, and women will say, I don't want to do strength training. Strength training is synonymous. This is kind of like the zeitgeist, right? Synonymous with bulk, right? And can you dispel that? Is that a myth? Is that true? Tell me where we should be thinking about that.
So if you saw my picture, would you say
I have seen your picture.
If I was overly bulky,
I would not.
Very lean, right? I mean, that was probably the leanest I've ever been in my life, right?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I was overly bulky, and I was obviously training for something specific.
Right.
But you can't bulk train. I mean, you can't bulk up as a female. Definitely, like, men have more testosterone, different hormones. You would have to take a steroid. And if you are in the industry or even a little bit aware of like what the different fitness categories look like when it comes to competing, you can definitely see the difference between like a fitness, a figure, a bodybuilder. And that's all they had when I was competing. Now it's like wellness. And
wait. So there's a difference in the competition?
Yes,
so what?
In the different categories.
Yeah.
Not only are we, our height category, like A, B, C, D. So I was like 5'2" and under. So
yeah.
And then, A, B, C, D, and sometimes E, depending on the height and how big the show would be.
Yeah.
But you had your fitness competitors, and they were those who would do like fitness, like routines, like a gymnast.
Yeah.
Right. Floor routines. And then they also did the swimsuit category as well. Figure, I just, I didn't have that skill, y'all.
What's the difference between figure? What's figure?
Figure, so it's more like muscle striation.
Oh yeah, when that looks like the cartoon.
Yeah, like you see all the different lines and all of that different things.
Yeah.
So your pose, and then how you
you lose. I mean, body fat is like 0.0.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the different categories. So the fitness, and then if you jump to bodybuilding, like the women are bulky, maybe a little bit more chiseled through the face.
You're saying in order to get bulky like that, you have to have something outside your normal physiology, because a female physiology wouldn't otherwise naturally do that, even if you were in the gym all day.
Naturally, it would not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I happen to like to see, different form of the muscles. That's because I was a muscle physiologist. And we should just put that to bed. There is no risk of you bulking up just because you picked some 3-pound dumbbells up, or you did some planks, or you did some strength training. And you are an example of that. So thank you very much. So, here's another debate. This is so good because we're kind of breaking down some of the things that I think are harming people, but also giving people tools that they can use. Like literally, that's what it's about. Mastery, self-mastery. To eat or not to eat before a workout. Where do you fall on that?
I really feel like it depends on the person, but I do encourage my clients to eat something. So whether it's like a couple small halos, a couple graham crackers, or unsweetened applesauce, just to have the energy. The carbohydrates are your body's preferred source of energy for anything. So if you're going to go do a workout, especially cardiovascular strength, or I would say more strength than anything, like when I don't eat before a strength workout, I definitely fatigue out a lot faster. I could get away with doing cardio on an empty stomach, like just have some water or like some amino acids in my water or something of that nature. But I definitely think your body's going to be better served if you do have something there. Something. And everybody's going to be different. Like some people don't like to put the liquids on their stomach, especially what type of workout, if you're going to be running or doing plyometrics, jumping around. Yeah. The sloshing in the stomach is kind of like aggravating for some people. Yeah. So really just it kind of depends. It goes back to that, not, one size doesn't fit all. Like it's going to be something for everybody, but I do think your body would be better served by giving it something prior to, whether it's, like I say, cardiovascular or strength training.
The only way to know is to try them both.
Yes, absolutely.
And really be kind of rigorous about it. Like do it for a little while, see if you perform better, see if you fatigue faster, see if you're ready to go home faster. Yeah. Doing both ways. Probably is universal recommendation to not fill your belly up with
that's correct.
Food.
And timing, like if you're gonna work out in an hour or 30 minutes, what what are you going to eat? What's going to digest more quickly? Like I wouldn't eat like a lot of fats right before my workout. Takes your body longer to break them down.
That's right.
So it can cause an upset stomach or just cramping or something like that. And then of course everybody's different. So not saying it's universal, but those are just like some little things that I would kind of consider.
Yeah, that's just human physiology though, right? So if you have fat in the stomach versus a little bit of carbohydrate, it's like having the short cycle on your washing machine versus the soil, like the really dirty cycle, the heavy cycle, heavy soil cycle.
Yeah.
You just have to process it longer because fat and oil and water don't mix. Your blood is water. Fat is the fat that you just ate. Your body has to process that to take it into.
Absolutely.
So a lot of fat's probably not a good idea. So MCT oil, people drinking, bulletproof coffee. Don't get me started as a cardiologist. Go look up bulletproof coffee before the workouts. It's probably not doing them doing them a disservice because the body then marshals the blood flow to the GI tract. And kind of you need that in your muscles if you're going to have a good workout.
A good workout. So energy. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Optimizing workout plans is an individual thing. I think that's what one of the highlights. I used to start and stop my workouts, various reasons. Probably everybody out there has done that back and forth. You stop or stop. Yeah. Is there any harm with that? You get going, you're going for 3 months, and then you have a month where you don't do anything. Starting back again. Am I hurting something? Am I down?
I think both mentally and physically, it just can be challenging, right? It's like if you were in the discipline and had this consistent routine going, and then all of a sudden you're not doing it anymore. It's like you start and then mentally it's hard to get back into it. And then physically your body does feel that again. It's like, or you try to go back and go hard. And then you're sore for like 5 days or your joints are aching.
Right. And then you're like,
oh my gosh, why did I do that? And then you're discouraged. And then, so it's more, then you go back to that mentally, like that was just so hard. I don't know why I did that. So really finding your sweet spot.
Yeah.
And so maybe if you can't go to the gym for a little while because maybe you have an injury, what can I do? I've had clients who have like torn their ACL or like had a fracture in a leg from like doing a race or something. Yeah. But we focused on upper body and we focused on nutrition.
So you don't have to stop everything just because you can do something just because.
Yeah. And I think people,
that. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
What about life, right? Obviously you two are the epitome of fitness, which is amazing. But life happens. So I think I fall in that category with start and stop. So what tips can you give me to get back in there and get motivated and stick with it? Or are there a few easy things I could be doing each week to get me back on track?
Yeah, despite what's going on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Despite lifing.
Lifing, right?
Yeah.
So I would always say, we have a body, move it, right? I think we underestimate walking. Like just walking. I think we underestimated. I remember just a quick story. My mom, when she was going through some emotional things, so her life, some things were changing. She was here visiting me. Part of it was during COVID. She had put on some weight from the emotional eating and things of that nature. Just walk my neighborhood. Like, just get out and walk. She started like 10 or 15 minutes and she added 5 minutes. Then she added in the hills in my neighborhood. So you're talking about, 2 or 3 months of consistently getting out and walking, right? So don't underestimate walking. And it's not an all or nothing approach, right? I tell my clients, okay, if I'm encouraging you to do 5 days of 30 minutes a day, if you can't do 30 minutes consecutively, let's break it up into chunks initially. Like, why does it have to be all or nothing? Because then if you don't do the complete 30 minutes, you feel like a failure.
Right, you feel like
you get into the mental psyche of all of that, right? So do 10 minutes and then do another 10 minutes. Do 3 10 minutes, 2 15 minutes, or if you have 30 minutes, do 30 minutes. I encourage you to find an accountability partner, someone who is going to support what you're doing and say, hey, get your tail out there and walk. That's what you said you were going to do. I'm here to support you and make sure you do what you said you were going to do.
Right.
So that's what I would say. So start small. It's baby steps. It's layering. So maybe you want to get back to the gym and you're like, oh, I just don't know how I'm going to fit it in, but maybe I could get up a little bit earlier. So maybe you start by getting up 10 minutes earlier, and maybe it's not even getting to the gym. Maybe you just laid your clothes out, put them on, and you started brushing your teeth and getting ready for your day, right? Then maybe next week you did the same thing and you drove to the gym. you just have to build the routine. You just got to build the consistency and kind of work it into your lifestyle and really be honest with yourself. Like, what can I really do? Make it a non-negotiable and prioritize yourself. I think if I can speak as a female raising 2 children, I prioritized that. I competed while I was raising them, and it was not easy.
Right. No,
it was not easy. I'm dragging a cooler with tilapia, asparagus, and plain rice to the soccer field. They want to go to the movies. Excuse me. I'm sneaking stuff in my purse, my cold fish.
For you to be able to eat while they eat.
While they eat what they have, so I can get on stage on Saturday.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's making the choice, and you have to choose you, and it's okay to do that, you know, and I think we have to like remind ourselves of that. We have to be intentional. We have to, again, find that accountability, hold our own selves accountable. And I'm going to say, is it going to be easy? But all you want to do is be 1% better than you were yesterday.
Yeah. You know, that is a really great point to end on. You don't have to not be there for other people when you choose you.
That's right.
The guilt that many of our women have when they turn their attention to themselves, because for a really long time, all they've done was for everybody else. And I have women break down in my office with just this kind of conversation saying, it is okay. Not only do you have permission, it is the only way you're going to live for a really long time. The first person that you're thinking about when you wake up in the morning, the most important person is you. It's not the spouse. It's not your children. It's not, and I know it's controversial, but it's not the children. Literally. No, I'm serious.
No,
that's a real response.
It is.
It's not your parents.
It is.
And guess what? It's not the job. And I'm a business owner, so I want people to come to work. But it's not even a job. But here's the thing that's not clear to them. You are an example of this. When you fill your cup first, then you have something to pour out. You can't pour from an empty cup. Thank you so much for being here on the Health Mastery Cafe, everybody. Coach Caroline.
That's me.
Yeah. Today and every day, there's nothing more important than your health. So go master it.